right, let's rock and roll. Because it is 11 o'clock. I like to start things on time. 40 minus 11:01. All right, and this isn't working.
I know because I haven't moved.
Okay. Right. All right, we need everybody to pop in here.
Well.
There we go. Okay, you guys, question, trivia. Let's do this real quick. According to the book, what is the first foundation step to becoming a millionaire agent? Oh, go ahead.
Did you think a million?
All right. You know what? I'm gonna, does anybody else have a guess?
That's not legitimate.
That is. That is. Bam, think a million. Good for you. That's awesome. And we have a gift card. John's running right now to go get it. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, you gotta have some fun. All right. I don't have any sound. You guys can't hear me? Can you hear me now? JC, can you hear me now? Can you text me, please?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, doll. I appreciate it. Tell me something good. Tell me something good. What's exciting right now? Come on, tell me something good. I know you've got lots of stuff going on.
Want to close a deal and I'm on track to closing another one for you.
And so how many would that be in the last 6 months?
That would be 3.
Three transactions in 6 months.
Closing.
Closing. That's awesome. Congratulations. Donna, tell me something good.
Está bien, de year, very good. I already have 3.
3 in contract for 2026. Awesome. Congratulations. Tell me something good.
Well, I'm in my first escrow.
Congratulations. I love it. Anybody else over there? Tell me something good. Zoom in. Tell me something good. I'll call on you if you don't. Anybody tell me something good? Thelma, good to see you. All right, let's roll. Okay, we're going back. Lunch. Come on.
Yeah.
Yes,
already?
Nathan, thank you so much for sponsoring lunch.
Yeah, hey everyone. Nate with Tebow Moving and Storage. We're an agent for National Van Lines. We do the full service moving. We've done KW clients like just a mile away. We've done one where they took the full semi truck going to the middle of the country. So local long distance, storage, short-term, long-term. We actually moved John. I believe that was pre-pandemic. Was it that long ago?
Yeah, pre-pandemic.
So, yeah, we're around. We do all that. We can do, as much or as little as your client needs. We've done, apartments, full houses, packing the whole thing. How's it going? We've done lots of clients for lots of different agents in here. But, yeah, so basically what I do is I would go out to your client's home, and kind of make a tailored moving package for them for their budget and their needs. And again, we, just can do a little bit or a lot, just depends on what they need. I brought tacos today. Come by and say hi afterward. I'm kind of, your network of services, it's nice to know a guy. So if you need to know a moving guy, I could be the guy you know. So come say hi.
It's good to know a moving guy.
Yeah, we do long-term and short-term storage. Yeah.
So you have your storage opportunity.
I would like to say that I've used Nate many times. As he said, from a short move to, I had to move a player for the Kings to Boston.
Wow.
And they got traded and you were like, he had to
That's
leave
right,
all
yeah.
this stuff, and they came in and, they did the whole job. And I've had to move people where a person was downsizing, they had a lot of stuff and they just took it. Eventually, I think he gave it to one of the shelters or something, but they didn't need it anymore. So
Wow.
he's done an excellent job for me.
Ditto that. You've done great work for me too.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And incidental here too. So
Yeah.
Based on a lot of stuff.
Appreciate you guys.
So.
Yeah, we can do pack.
We need a pack.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that for sure. You asked about storage.
Storage, yeah.
Sorry, real quick. Yeah, so we do short and long-term storage. We actually did a KW client up north in Calusa. We brought like first shipment in so they could stage the house, and then we brought the rest in. And then we held it for, I think it was gonna be 1 year, it ended up being 2 years, and then it went to Florida, so. Sometimes they even know, just need like 7 days in between, moving out and moving in, we can do that too, so it just depends on.
Is it like a pod type or you have storage?
So we don't do pods, we have a warehouse. And we just stack it all up in there, again, depending on how long they need, if it's just a few days, we can put it on a truck. And lock it up at our warehouse until we bring it back out, but yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just want to say somewhat that we had a luxury listing, but with the head librarian at Sac State and the head person of the park department that, ARC, you want to say stuff, they have stuff. So they came in and packed it all, and it was rare books and all this stuff, and they packed it all so that we could just sell the home. Just to get it so it's showable,
Yeah.
and then we moved it, yeah, so they stored it all, so.
Great. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
guys so much.
Tacos.
Get the food.
Thank you. All right, you guys, get your listing. Let's go. Who has a listing they want to chat about? I saw Brian just standing there. Eternity. Go ahead, Francine, please.
Goes on the market tomorrow. It is a 3-bedroom canal bath home in a gated community in Stockton. 5 years from being built by the builder. 10,000 in upgrades when they bought the home. Really well maintained.
Nice.
Yeah, 469.
Great price. Wow, great price. Steve and T.
We've got one over in, North Sacramento, and that one is over on Clay Street. That particular one is a 2 or 1.5, and it's going for 235. And it's got a huge backyard.
235?
I'm sorry, 330.
Oh, I was like,
325.
whoa, say that louder. We got a lot of people.
Let me say, I get it.
Yeah.
That's a discount totally. But anyway, that one it's a huge backyard and everything else. It has been refurbished, so new kitchen area, things of this nature, so it's really a nice little piece of property.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Picture listing. Anybody else? Brian, any listing? Yeah, come over here so we can hear you, please.
I have a one condo coming, it's a 3-2 in Rockland, in the Whitney Ranch area. It's gonna be in the low 30,000. The HOAs are pretty low at like 270. That was gonna come up next week. I have a Woodland single story, 3-2. I think it's like 11 or 1,200 square foot. And that's gonna be in the low 400s. They're on going on next week. And currently I have one in Citrus Heights that is a condo, 400,000, 800 square foot for 2.5.
Nice.
John just put one up in South Nokomis. It's a 3-2, right, John? Rancho real quick. He's talking to me, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, in Rancho Road is the hydro one. Yep. What am I missing, CP? Yeah. I also have a Dixon line that's been kind of crazy, kind of locking in, but if you guys talk about it, go show really quickly. Am I missing anything?
Yes,
Yes.
we also have another one coming up on Monday. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 625 square feet.
Wow.
Beautiful, fully upgraded condo in the Rosemont area. And I'm listing it for 199.
199.
Right, enough of that, but
That's that.
the HOA is 325, but it includes water, sewer, garbage, insurance and maintenance of the roof and structure, so
Okay, I have.
once again, it's great.
There's a buyer, it's sold. I like this. Great, this is great. All right, you guys, we have Ignite at Night. This is put on by, throughout the whole, all the coaches are picking nights to be, teaching throughout the United States, if I'm not mistaken. I don't see. However, get on it. It's, twice. So it's either at Wednesday or Thursday, but I believe there's one at 3 o'clock and then there's one at 6 o'clock as well. So jump on. All right. We're gonna welcome some new agents. Is Lydia here? Okay, we have, is Lydia on Zoom? Okay. Hannah,
Yes,
Christina
I'm here.
Rose? There you are. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. This is exciting. And we have Deanna. Is Deanna here? No. Oh, she said she was gonna pop on Zoom. All right, are you there? Okay, okay. All right, you guys, casino night. John, did you want to talk about that?
Sure, it is March 20th, so this is a fundraiser for our Red Day, help fund our Red Day, so please book it. You should have a save the date to you in your email, but please book it. It'll be here in this training room right here. We had a lot of fun last time.
We had a lot of fun.
Buy-in for that is a full professional casino setup.
Yeah.
We'll have regular
This is gonna be like an annual.
crafts, what else, roulette?
Blackjack. As long as they had craft, that table was rolling. Yeah. That
So
was
if
a
you
lot
wanna
of
have
fun.
fun, it's all for charity and it's a lot of fun, and hope to see you there, so.
Right on. Thank you so much. You guys, this Thursday is our top 20% mastermind on Zoom only. You should have gotten an invite already. If you haven't, let me know. All right, broker compliance. I hope you guys are all joining broker compliance every Monday at 2:00. You got to learn about what's going on in this world. Commercial core. Woo woo. Yes, it's back. Where's Andy? I wanted Andy to chat about this. Andy, are you on?
Yes. Hello, everybody.
There you go. Yes, yes, yes. It's happening, girl.
Yes, we are very excited. We're going to be doing our first round of 2026 commercial core training. Please get with Michelle for signups. If you guys have any other questions, just scan there and let me know. We can pop on a call, we can do a meeting, and we can discuss further. This is the onboarding program for everybody to get their feet wet in commercial and get a good foundation so that they can start practicing with the mentor in place.
Awesome.
My
Thank you,
cell
Andy.
phone number is 916-919-5589. So
Not right
text
there.
me, call me. Let's get you guys in it.
Awesome. Thank you, Doc. Okay, Joe. Joe.
So-
Mortgage minute.
All right.
Mortgage.
First, you'll see this. Make sure you wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
Everything's good. It's just a little spot. On the 19th, which is next Thursday, at my office, we're doing a training, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on DSCR loans. It's really focused on the real estate agent's perspective and real estate agents wanting to get into investment properties, right? Because we all do our taxes. We like to write off stuff on our taxes. So imagine being able to buy a property without income. All about investment. So it's just a different perspective, a way for you to understand, and a great thing for your investor clients. February 24th, the College FA Dream for All program, the portal opens up, and that'll be open until March 16th. So any buyers first-time home buyers, first generation, interested in purchasing, get them pre-approved. If this program is something that they qualify for and that they are interested in, we'll get them ready to get them that certificate right away to put their name in the drawing. The biggest thing on that one is the clients just have to be patient, because we may not hear if they've actually been approved or their name's been drawn until the end of Q2, which could be as late as the end of June, right? They said end of Q2. And then next meeting was at the 24th. We will actually have Natasha Dowding from College FA here doing the training, speaking on the College FA and also the standard down payment assistance programs from them. So it's just a great way to get that knowledge. If you have any questions on that, let me know.
Well, we appreciate you bringing her here. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lisa, are you on compliance? She was. Okay, January, you guys, are you ready? We just did 2025 awards. January has closed out. Let's go. What was that? I so quick. And February's almost done. Yes. Top 20. We're gonna go Sal Molina. Jose. I saw Jose popping in. Where was he? Where is he? John. AJ. Michelle West. I was just on a Zoom call with Michelle. She's in Fresno right now flipping a deal. So that's exciting. Carthy, Amethyst, Nada, Patricia Lopez. I love seeing all these new names. Lucille, he was the up and coming over in Ripon. Yeah. All right, you guys, top 10 to 6. Anthony, Preet, Luke, Penny, and Rich. I didn't skip him. Is he on? There we go. All right, top 5 through 1. Taylor, Michael. This is his first time to close 3 transactions in 1 month. So it's really, really exciting. Laura Miller, Parv, and Tuan. Congratulations to all. Thank you for all the hard work. All right, let's roll. Ricky O'Neill. Who knows Ricky? Nobody knows Ricky? Really? Okay, so Ricky O'Neill is with the Moore Group. He's part of the Moore, right? So Ricky has spoke many times in a lot of the offices that I have overseen. So I'm very, very honored that you're taking time to share your new knowledge that you are being trained on. So thank you so much. Come on
Thank you
in.
very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Find my computer.
So, first of all, thank you, Michelle, for having me and for all the support along the years. Second of all, could y'all do me a favor in back here? Could y'all come in this room where the training is? Because it would be helpful because you're here to learn and spend a good amount of time actually walking away with something, because I know your time is valuable. Whenever we do any sort of exactly what to say training, everyone usually is scared to sit near me because they think I'm going to call on them because they don't know exactly what to say. I promise you, I'm not putting anyone on the spot today. I'm sorry, camera. Because the camera knows what to do. The camera's here. The Zoomers showed up in their pajamas. But seriously though, really appreciate you all coming here today, and thank you for coming in and sitting in the room. I promise I won't call on you, but I will take questions, right? But my goal at the end of the day is for there to be no questions, and that I'm here to speak super clear so that there's no questions when we're done, right? Isn't that what clarity is? So this is not a training. So if you came here for a training, I apologize. The training will come, but this is kind of, think of it more as a starting, right? This is kind of the next direction. And so the question I'm going to start off with today is, first of all, who's heard of exactly what to say? Okay, about 80% of the room. After today, who has heard of exactly what to say? Okay, 100% of the room. Great, we're doing our job. So, who in the room believes words matter? Again, don't worry. If you raise your hand, I'm not calling you. This is not an opportunity where you're going to raise your hand. I'm going to call. Who here believes that words matter? Raise your hand. Good. Everyone raise their hand. And so let me ask you this: if so few professionals actually believe words matter, how come nearly all of them never train on how to use the words? Doesn't matter. Right? How come we don't train to use the words that matter most? You might train scenarios, but you might not train using the words, right? Because here's the deal: the moment you recognize what I just said and the influence of your words, you also see all the opportunities that are slipping through people's fingers. Once you recognize that the moments that you are passing and other people are passing by, you start to recognize those moments. You also start to recognize all the opportunities that have slipped through your fingers over the years. And then you become obsessive, starting to see all the other opportunities that are slipping through people's fingers in front of you and think, gosh, that was an opportunity for them to say something and they didn't. We're going to touch on a little bit of that today, right? We're going to start with talking about some of the patterns that most agents miss. Now, this particular training is a broad training that is for any kind of business owner or someone who actually works with people. But today, we're gonna design it strictly around real estate agents. Is that fair that we're all real estate agents in the room? Now, who is not a real estate agent in the room? Raise your hand. Okay, so 4 of us. Right now, is everyone in the real estate industry? Okay, So could it be fair to say that it's important to understand who the audience is prior to providing some content? Yeah. Have you ever been a victim of someone coming and trying to sell you something without asking you anything about who you are? Where they're putting content before understanding context? And it's at such a level that you feel resentful because they wasted your time. Any title reps in the room? Okay. Would it be kind of an interesting idea afterward? We sat around and talked, and I talked about a specifically class or title. Have you been on one of my calls before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there, you know, I had 5 minutes to go over a 3-hour session with class or title about 2 weeks ago. Okay, in which about 90% of those people called me afterwards saying, "Can I get more time?" And so with the title industry, I want the title industry and the mortgage industry and the real estate industry to understand each other at the highest level so that we all succeed at the highest level. That's my ultimate. But today we're going to talk about some of the patterns that agents miss, right? Most agents feel valuable, right? Could it be fair to say that most of us feel that we're valuable, right? We have some sort of value that we like to offer. But also most agents, based on data that we're going to get to in a second, they also struggle with how to communicate that value clearly a lot of times. Would that be fair to say that sometimes we struggle in really having a deep understanding of our value? And there's no judgment in this room. Please know that when I ask a question like that, there's no judgment. Even my own team, right, which we didn't even talk about, which sells a couple homes a year.
There's a few. Top in the
What
region.
was that?
Top in the region.
Yeah. So even them, they sometimes also struggle with the value, right? And so one of the things we can think about, and by the way, take as many notes and many pictures you want, right? This is all free for you. Take as much notes and pictures. One thing that we found in some of the study is that value is revealed in the moments that fall in our lap. And those pieces of value in those moments are oftentimes missed. And when we miss the moments, we miss the opportunity. Is that fair to say? See, value gets lost because we oftentimes we work so hard to get the meeting. And then we get the meeting and all of a sudden we're in the meeting and then we're there solving the wrong problem at the right time. Because we think our value that we believe is to be true is good for every single person, right? So we go in with something that we think is value, but really what we're doing is solving the wrong problem. Have we ever been guilty of that? Yeah, we all have, right? And if you don't understand what that means, then let me ask you something. 2 agents have access to the same MLS, which happens to be in your parking lot. Okay? They have access to the same MLS. They have access to the same contracts, right? They have access to the same market data, right? They have access to the same, probably, photographer. They probably have access to the same CRMs. But why does one get chosen and the other one has to defend their fee? We all have the same exact access to all the things that we think valuable. But every single time we go on an appointment, one person gets chosen and the rest have to figure out how they should have charged differently or done something different and differently, right? The difference isn't effort, the difference is language. The difference is language. If you are stuck in thinking your value is just justifying your fee, then you're not explaining your value. And we've all been guilty of this from time to time, where we think that justifying our fee is our value. Currently, some of us in this room might be experts at that. We already know what that means, and we're not doing that. But what if we go back in time and we think, okay, so how do I understand this in the moments that matter most? Well, part of this is preparation. And so if we want to understand the moments that matter most, we need to understand what people perceive to be valuable. And if you want the clip notes around that, I'm going to share it with you. Okay? There's only 4 things that people perceive to be valuable. Number 1 is money for money. Again, this is what people perceive to be valuable in your situation. They need to eat, they need water. We understand that. Okay? Number 1 is money for money. So what does that mean, money for money? Meaning money, they're willing to spend money to make money. Right? They're willing to spend money to save money. They perceive that to be valuable. Number 2 is money for time. There people are willing to spend money for time. In the real estate world, maybe they're willing to spend money for an expert who's willing to sell their house as fast as possible. Right? Or to save them time from moving so they don't have to pack their stuff up and move. They're willing to spend money. They're also willing to spend money to save money. Number 3 is money for risk management. We all know what that means. Is when you're talking about real estate, some people might want to spend money to work with the person who's going to not get them into a situation that's going to be really crappy. On the generic level, it could be things like insurance, E&O insurance, health insurance, car. They're willing to spend money. The final one is money for status. Money for status could be things like in our world, we spend money for marketing, right? We spend, and then in the consumer world, they might spend money to look good, to feel something emotional. That's money for status. Does any of that make sense? Have we met anyone like that? Yeah, have we? Have we? You all laughing? So the interesting thing though about understanding all of that is a lot of that takes practice, right? Value is not improvised. Value is not improvised. We all get into a situation where we're kind of in a meeting or employment where we're trying to figure it out as we go. And that means that we probably weren't prepared for that moment. Right? Value is not improvised, it's prepared. And so one thing that I think is super important is for understanding something about what I'm about to say, and you all could write this part. Professionals practice, and amateurs practice on prospects. Okay? Let me say that again. Professionals practice, and amateurs practice on prospects. What does that mean exactly? What does that mean? What it means is, what if, and congratulations for all the success in January that many of you have. And so what that exactly means is, what if the biggest gap in your business isn't marketing, isn't market conditions, it's not even your competition, it's not your listing packet, it's not the comps you brought. What if it's just about having better conversations? What if it's understanding how to have greater conversations? And what if there's just a little tiny switch in that changes everything? And if you're struggling in those moments, ask yourself, have I been practicing live on prospects? Have I been practicing on my prospects? Have we ever been guilty of practicing on prospects? Right? We're going to get to some data here shortly that we did in the Exactly What to Say world we've been gathering for the last 2 years. That is going to blow some of your guys' minds, and I can't wait to share it. So a lot of the stuff I'm talking about now, you're going to see in the data that's coming up for yourself, right? The best agents don't wing it, they practice it. They practice it. So if we take this into a value, situation. Okay. We want to make sure that we kind of change our thinking. So the front end of this conversation is to change our framework around thinking. And particularly I chose value as the moment for this particular situation, because in the study and in my research and the people who I coach and train, a lot of them sometimes have struggled with explaining and identifying their value. So one of the things we know is we have to ask better questions, right? Instead of explaining price, we need to learn how to ask better questions. Because what happens is if value is reduced to a price tag, service becomes replaceable. If you think I'm cheap, try hiring an amateur. Or if you think I'm expensive, try hiring an amateur. If value is reduced to a price tag, your service becomes replaceable. Okay, well, that one stuck. Most of you actually woke up and wrote that one down, or took a picture of it. So welcome to the show. Are we ready to get ready? Okay. The first part of this was important because we need to understand kind of the framework. We need to understand the context and how to start the conversation. If you go in blind, have you ever been to a presentation where there's someone up in here just talking and you're like, I know all of that already, or that person just said that already, and I already know that. Can we do this? Right? What if we change the whole entire concept around value? And we start thinking about how to prepare for it in a different way. See, value isn't improvised in the moment, it's prepared ahead of the moment. And in the exactly what to say world, we say that that's called the work before the work. Who has ever or seen or heard of or thought about, or maybe at some point seen it on the bookshelf, this book right here?
No, I
Y'all own it.
think we do, I do.
Good. Raise your hand if you don't have this book. Okay. Raise your hand if you've never heard of this book. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're going to get this copy when I leave here. Okay. So don't forget to come bother me after, because I will forget. Trust me.
There's people on Zoom asking questions.
What's the name of the book? The name of the book is Exactly What to Say. Go figure, right? And so it's exactly what to say. And here's the book, and you're going to get all this information here shortly. In the book, there's a list of about 30 what we call magic words, right, that influence impact. Have we all heard of those before? Yeah. So we read the book, and we thought, wow, that's really cool. We're going to take one or two of these words and we're going to start throwing them into our lexicon. And we're going to start using these, right? Out of curiosity. That's one, right? Would it be helpful if, right? But who can honestly say that they actually took it to the next level? And understanding the framework behind the words. The words are one thing, but the work before the work is what we call the 4 cornerstones of conversational excellence. And today you're going to get an inside peek on something that's not in the book. Right, and it's going to go over to cornerstone number 1. Have you all seen any of the 4 cornerstones of conversational excellence? One of you have, and that's good. So you're all in the right room. The first cornerstone is the worst time to think about what to say is in the moment you're going to say it. So now bringing it back to why it's of value, right? Because we're going to talk about the first cornerstone, number 1, which is the worst time to think about what to say is in the moment you're saying it. So does it now make sense that we have to talk about preparation a little bit more when it comes to our value? Because the moment that shows up, we might not be prepared. We might be the moment that shows up for us, we might be giving the wrong solution. Okay. So if we focus so much, we concentrated so much on the moments themselves that help create deeper conversations, do you think that would push our goals forward? Do you think that we would get further faster? If we started thinking differently about our conversations and started just focusing on moments instead of like trying to get, trying to throw that fastball or that pitch. What happens when you throw a pitch at someone and it accidentally hits them? It hurts, right? It hurts. What if our goal in conversations was to identify moments And instead of trying to slam dunk the ball, we tried to keep the ball in play. Well, what if our goal in conversations around moments was to, instead of having periods, we added more commas, dashes, and semicolons to our conversations, right? How much further would those relationships go, right? Because the truth is, if you want better outcomes, wouldn't it make sense to upgrade your preparation in the moments that matter most? Who here would benefit from greater outcomes? Usually everyone raises their own, but you guys were kicking a lot of butt in January, so some of you are good to go, right? So as I mentioned earlier, we talked about data that we worked on for the last 2 years. There are about 40 exactly what to say certified guides in the nation. One in Northern California, one in our region, and that's Ricky O'Neill. Okay, and one actually the only KW on the West Coast. So the point in saying that is we've been doing a lot of research for the last 18 to 24 months on conversations within the workplace, and particularly the real estate industry workplace. And we surveyed about 1,000 people. And would you believe that more than 80% of real estate leaders say poor communication is an industry crisis? Would you believe it? Industry crisis, and yes, title and mortgage was involved in that survey. Right? Not that they're part of the problem, but they were part of the solution because they're trying to communicate with you all. You see, your consumer is the people selling and buying. A lot of the times their consumer is you. The mortgage lender is the seller or the buyer and you. And all of them, as a collective group, said, workplace communication in the real estate world industry crisis. Crisis level. Those same exact people also said, yeah, we never practice communication. Those same exact people said we never practice communication. Isn't that interesting? That they said, yeah, you know what, 80% real estate, poor communication, but we don't practice enough in the moments that actually fall in our lap so that we could build a relationship and grow it through conversations to have greater opportunities for my business, right? 71% can recall a moment where they thought significantly better communications around the moments that mattered most that fell in their lap would have had a greater outcome. Looking back, have we ever looked back at a conversation and said, oh gosh dang it, you know what, I would have done this or said this instead, right? We've all been there, and that's okay. Zoomers, I don't know I don't know how many of you are on there, but I hope that you can hear me okay and that you're doing okay out there in the Zoom world. And if there's something urgent that comes up, send a message. I'm sure it'll come to me.
I'm watching
Telegram or something. So that's the conversational data. Thank you. So we also asked in that situation, well, if conversational skills are the most important, you say it's the most important skill, how come so few train for it, right? How come, right? And this is the list they came up with. It's not my list, this is their list. Of course, I'm part of that world, this is what they said. They said they think they're too busy to practice. Like I could empathize with that, I hear you. They believe experience should be enough. Been there, done that. I already know it, right? If we're being honest with ourselves, could we be honest and say that some of the veterans in this room might have thought this at one point in their life, possibly, potentially, maybe? Number 3, they rely on charisma instead of clarity. What if I told you that charisma attracts but character retains? Do you know someone that kind of might fit that description, that charisma attracts and character retains? Have you ever been to a mix or a party or an event where you meet someone and they're like, oh my gosh, we get along, we planned, we're gonna go hunting, we're gonna go to Hawaii together, our families will go to dinner, and we're gonna do lunch next week. And then what happens? None of that ever happens. Right? And then we have this next one on the list is they don't feel the pain enough. Right? They don't feel pain until the price begins to get challenged. And so meaning that the market was giving them more success than the skills necessary in the market to give them success. They were doing really well when homes were flying off the shelf, but as soon as they had to start explaining their value, they ran into some trouble. And then finally, they assumed talking all day equals communicating well. Right? They are putting what I say content ahead of context. They're that moment where they assume that just because they're connecting that they're converting. They assume it's because they are having those conversations that they're going to move forward. They assume that they're connecting on the right platform, right, in the right moment. So then we get stuck over situations, right? We get stuck. But lucky for you, I'm doing something today that I've never done before. And we're going to play around with some of the struggles that some of the agents in my coaching group, on my team, and in the rooms I'm in are currently saying that I'm having struggles with these situations, right? And so these are the 8 critical conversations for real estate agents that we're hearing most in this market. Now, yes, this is across the nation, but I would also argue that a lot of this is actually accurate in our own backyard. True or false? True, right. We don't have time to get through all 8. But if something were to really stand out in front of you on this list, which one would it be? Which one are you hearing in this room most? Where if you were able to stop earlier in the conversation, identify a moment within that conversation that perhaps you can stay curious around to ask a couple more qualifying questions, where you're not in a position to give advice any longer, you're actually helping them understand the solution before your eyes. Which one of these are you struggling with? I can tell you which one that we're hearing a lot on my team is number 2. We're not in a hurry. Yeah, we're not in a hurry. We're not in a hurry. In a normal situation, how might we respond to we're not in a hurry? Okay, take your time. Thank you. What was your name?
Hi.
Thank you for being authentic, because that's what actually most people do say. Okay, totally get it. I'm here to help whenever you're ready. Right? Hey, listen, is it okay if I check in with you when you're ready? Right?
Lindsay on Zoom actually said, how's the market? She doesn't know how to.
We're gonna get there. We'll go that one next. Okay, I promise to get through 2 or 3 of these. Okay. We're in a hurry. Where's the moment and we're not in a hurry? So if I were to ask you a different question, so that maybe you have a clear understanding, where would the moment be that we miss when someone says we're not in a hurry? Where might the moment be when we say we're not in a hurry? How about identifying what a hurry is? Right. We assumed their hurry was our hurry. We immediately said, take your time. I'm here when you're ready. I don't want to put any pressure on you. It's okay. You listen, you know, a lot of people are like you and Mark is kind of crazy. I'm here to help you whenever you're ready. I'll be here. Wait for my phone to ring. Right? And then all of a sudden, before you know it, their house goes on the market 2 weeks later. And you wonder why. Anything. You said you weren't in a hurry. You said, well, we weren't in a hurry this week. Right? So what if we approached it differently? We had the moment right in front of us. They gave us the moment. They said, we're not in a hurry. You can say, I totally understand. A lot of people, most people also aren't in a hurry. They're in your situation. Just so I'm able to help you best, when you say you're not in a hurry, does it mean that you're not interested in maybe pursuing your real estate goals this week? Or is it maybe like next month or so? Oh, it's probably going to be next month or so. Okay, great. Help me understand when you say next month or so, Is there a particular reason that you think that next month is going to be a better time than this month? Yeah, well, we're just in a situation where we're waiting for the kids to get out of school. Totally understand, totally understand. How important is it to you that when the kids get out of school, that your home sells quick? That's critical. Well, really, help me understand what's critical about it. Well, we have to be in the next house by the time the school year starts up. Oh, great, excellent. I totally understand what you mean by that. Well, could it be possible that maybe if you understood what the market looks like right now in order for that to happen, then you might be able to make a better decision in that moment? Of course, yeah, I would. Okay, great. Listen, out of curiosity, what do you understand about the current market and how quickly homes are selling like yours that could potentially possibly put you in a situation so that it's sold prior to you wanting to move? Well, we're really not sure. We're really not in a hurry. Totally understand you're not in a hurry. Would it be helpful if I shared what other people in your same situation are doing in order for them to succeed in getting to the next place? Sure. What am I doing there? What am I doing?
Discovery.
Discovery? Yeah. I'm not offering solutions. Who said that? I'm not offering a solution. I didn't offer one bit of advice.
You're trying to get context.
I'm trying to get context. Yeah.
Painting a picture.
Painting a picture. Like it. Okay. What?
Getting expectations.
Expectations. Right. Is it also possible that I'm trying just to ask questions to build a relationship that builds the trust? Right? So that when they are ready, they're going to think of me first. Because oftentimes when you stay curious around the moment they gave you, they oftentimes come back and say, you know what, no one's really asked me that before. If you get into a situation where someone says, no one's asked me that before, then you probably know that you might get that opportunity. That make sense? Okay. Is that helpful? At all? Maybe a little bit. How's the market was on the line, right? How's the market? Who's ever heard that one before? Yeah. So if you've heard my partner Phil Jones, Phil says when someone asks him how's the market, what does Phil say? Phil says, well, the market's interesting. Market's interesting. And then someone says, well, what do you mean by interesting? That's a weird way. Well, interesting is potentially maybe the most interesting word in the dictionary. So when you say, hey, the market's interesting, someone might say, well, what do you mean by interesting? He said, well, in order for me to, out of curiosity, when you say how's the market, are you referring to more about what interest rates are doing or about how long homes are sitting on the market before they're sold? Actually, I'm interested in more what rates are doing. So who was the person online that asked that?
Lindsay.
Lindsay, so here's the thing, Lindsay. If someone says, how's the market? What is our programmed response?
Oh, the market is great.
Great.
You should buy now.
Buy
List your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's our program response. Okay. Another program response is something like, well, it depends. Why do you ask? Okay. Another program response is, well, that's a great question. Are you a buyer, seller, or investor? Right. Another program response is it's crazy. It's so crazy. I tell you what, the market is so crazy. It is just, whoo, it's crazy. We know those crazy agents don't. Okay, the market's crazy. Some people are like, well, then I don't want anything to do with crazy. Right? The market's super busy. It's so busy. It's just so busy. Crap, it's so busy. That means I'm probably never going to be able to buy a house. Because it's too busy. Too many buyers out there writing over offers. Right? The story we just told a potential consumer is a story that we think that they want to hear. Is it busy? Meaning we think when we say it's busy, they think, well, then that's a good time for me to sell. They might have just been asking about interest rates. So how do we quickly get to the moment where the market says, hey, how's the market? How do we quickly understand what do they mean by healthy? What other ways could we ask the question around understanding what do they mean when they say how's the market? Because of the fact that you didn't answer that tells me you're all in the right room and that you're really going to enjoy something that's going to come up here in a second, right? Of course, we all know what we say. We all have that thing that we say. We all have little tools and stuff in our back pocket that we say when it says it's how's the market, right? But when was the last time someone asked you how was the market and you responded in such a way that made them think, and then they immediately became a client of yours or an advocate of yours, right? I don't know. I don't know why. Well, you know, market, it depends, you know, there's sellers and there's homeowners. Sellers, you know, they really understand the market and they list accordingly, market condition. They hire a professional real estate agent like myself to help them market the house and negotiate with the buyers in this market where buyers are struggling with affordability, but we're able to help them put them in a position where their home gets sold that beats them on market days to help them get into their next house. And then there's homeowners, of course, you know, the homeowners. The homeowners is the one house in your street that's been on the market for 374 days. They haven't done one price reduction and they have really no need to sell. And then you keep calling me and asking me if that house is sold yet, happen to have it sold because your house is nicer. Right? Out of curiosity, if you were to think about selling right now, which one of those would you call? Gosh, I'd probably be a seller because Bridget and I have been thinking about maybe, you know, exploring downsizing since the kids are going to go off to college next year, but we're just not sure about interest rates. Yeah, I know interest rates are something else I'm thinking. Is there a particular question around the interest rate that keeps you up at night? Well, they just, you know, it's just so unstable. We're really not sure if it's high or low, or sometimes the news says the world's going to blow up. And then I talked to my neighbor who's a real estate agent. He said the market's crazy and a great time to buy. Right? And so, don't get me wrong. There are opportunities within almost every conversation we have. But those opportunities don't automatically lead to action. They just get you closer. And your goal is to get closer than someone else who's missing those moments. Right? Is it fair? So as we're closing out, a couple final thoughts before we get to some fun stuff here. Did I skip any of those? We're running out of time. You can take a picture of those and I'll stick around for a couple minutes. Okay? So one of the great, and I mentioned this briefly earlier and I said it, I briefed it over. But here's the interesting thing. One of the greatest expenses of a high achiever is their experience. Okay? They rely on their experience and not their preparation. And I know this to be true because I work with some of them. I know this to be true because I coach some of them. I know this to be true because a lot of real estate agents have been doing this for 35 years and they've sold 10 homes. Right? You ever have that broker call you immediately? They say, "Oh, this is broker." They're a broker. You know, they would probably say that immediately they're a broker. And they say, "Oh, and then you kind of ask them a couple questions about something, and then you come back and say, "I've been doing it 35 years." Okay, right? Bet you haven't sold many homes to Katie on my team who's been doing this for 6 years. I know that for sure because not a lot of people have. Right? So we rely too much on our experience, not our preparation. Right? Communication is no longer a soft skill. Okay? The fact is that communication is no longer a soft skill. We have to learn to become an expert at the moments that land in our life. And in relationship industries like real estate, particularly real estate, oftentimes communication is the deciding factor, not service. conversations that we have in the moments that are in front of us, those are the deciding factors in that service, right? So how do we fix this? How do we fix this? Well, a couple ways we fix it. One is we could go and go to a conference like Family Reunion and hope to run into Phil Jones in the hallway and ask him for his time. He's going to send you an invoice for $20,000. Okay, which he did to me 4 years ago. Okay. Number two is you could say, hey, I want to learn more from exactly what to say. Sign up for certification in New York City, which is $5,500. You got to fly out there, which is about $1,200. But there's a Red Eye United and JetBlue United. I've taken it 100 times. It sucks. And then, of course, you know, New York City hotels are not the Motel 6 world, and they make you stay really close to where places are. So you're thinking about at least $600 a night. All said and done, it's $10,000 to $12,000. Okay. We, of course, have different local options where we have different pods, right? We have option 1 pod, which is essentially the foundational practice pod. There's a small fee attached to that meets twice a month on that pod. It's a group session of real estate agents. We also have a group session with title and mortgage people as well. We have the more advanced pod, it's more of leadership. Those are maybe operating a team, or want to grow a team and thinking that I want to think like other people. That pod is also available. Then, of course, we have the elite, which is a one-on-one coaching, which I have 2 spots left. I'm not trying to sell any of that at all. I'm just letting you know that there are options if you want to learn more how to become an expert at exactly what to say. The final option here is conversational excellence, right? We have Pathways, which is a long course, 8-week course. We have certifications, which we are going to bring the certification to California for the first time ever at the end of the summer for way less than $5,500. Isn't that exciting? Mm-hmm. And we have workshops, right? And because Michelle is so great, she said, I want my market centers to participate in the upcoming workshop. And I said, well, how many people do you think would sign up for the workshop? And she said, I think I can get a lot of people to sign up for the workshop. And I said, okay, well, why don't I just do a workshop just for your people? And she said, I think that'd be awesome. So I said, not only will I do a workshop for your people, this is what the workshop is going to include, okay? The workshop is going to include the exactly what to say workbook. This workbook is a lot thicker than this book here, right? Could you agree? This workbook has a deep dive into the 4 conversational cornerstones of conversational excellence. It does have also the magic words, but also a lot more detailed fine print and ways to use the magic words differently, right? It also has me explaining to you how to use some of these things and walking you through them. The next thing that is available with the workshop is the deck of cards with the role play cards. Who has ever seen these role play cards? Okay, who has role play cards? Okay, so perfect. Those that don't have role play cards, these are about $50 a box, and they're super hard to get because they're always on back order. Okay.
I'll sell mine for 75. I mean 100.
Before you do that, okay, this workbook, the only way you can get this workbook is if you go into certification. Right? The only way you get this workbook. You really can't find it online. And so then we go into, okay, well, what else comes with the survey? A guided tour through the framework. The 4 conversational cornerstones are framework. When Michelle opened up the meeting with what? She said, if you want to be a millionaire real estate agent, what's the first step? You gotta start thinking like a millionaire real estate agent. So we have to start thinking of the framework. I didn't get into cornerstones 2, 3, or 4, but I will. And I'm gonna go deep dive into moments. And then we're gonna go into real life scenarios in the workshop where you are gonna come and say, hey, this is my situation, this is my situation, this is my situation. And we're gonna help you get through those. Because most of the time, most people have a situation. Other people have that same situation. They're just not the kind of person to raise their hand and say that's. So this is a $250. Remember, this is $50. This is $5,500. And because Michelle's great, I said, hey, listen, the workshop that we're gonna do is actually a virtual workshop in the Bay Area Market Center and other offices outside of KW. There's 8 of them who've already signed up for it. And I got another one in Sacramento that's gonna do it, right? It's not KW. I have a mortgage company that signed up for it and another title company that's gonna do it. And they've all paid $250. But I told Michelle, if you get both of your market centers interested in doing it, then we would do it all for $149. If you were to add up this, $50, $5,500, and a couple other things, right? The workshop is gonna do a deep dive into what we do. Now, tomorrow that price is gonna go back up to $249. If you're interested, there's zero pressure. But if you're interested, I know that Michelle's Ripon office will be down there. This is going to be held in late April, probably April 28th. Yes, there is a virtual option. I most likely will do it in this room, right here, for you all. You will get the book and the role play cards about a week before the session. So you can have a chance to look through the role play cards and kind of understand what's on those, and then a chance to flip through the book, right? Then we're going to come in here and we're going to do a deep dive into the 4 cornerstones to help you understand the framework and the baseline. We're going to do a little bit of role playing, right? And then we're going to go into real life scenarios. So you can take a picture of this, decide later today if this is right for you. And if you want to take the next leap, this is definitely the most cost-effective way to really get immersed into the exactly what to say world, if that's something that interests you and that's something that you want to do and become more expert on. Knowing that the fact is that 80% of the work of your workforce says that communication and conversations are an all-time crisis. Knowing that 100% of us say we never really actually practice for it, and understanding that the moments that matter most, we actually capitalize in when we actually prepare for them. We're going to walk you through that. That's all I have for right now. And I really appreciate you.
We appreciate you. So, that somebody actually said that I really want to do this, Michelle, but I'm also scared.
Oh yeah, I know. me too. Me too. What exactly would this person be scared of?
I'm not gonna call her out.
Yeah, okay. So that is a very common response for people because let me give you, this is not script practice. And this is not calling you out and making fun of you because you said the wrong thing in practice. This is not exactly the wrong thing to say. This is the first very simple, very inexpensive step to think differently, right? In the workshop, there is no calling out. No one's going to get put on the spot. There's not a group session where people are going to get into groups and do role play sessions. We don't do that. We don't do that. There's nothing to be scared about. The only thing to be scared about is the extra opportunities you're going to get from having a little bit more knowledge about how to find and identify moments in conversation to stay curious around, to ask better questions that provide you with greater opportunity. That's the only thing that might be scary, is that you might end up gaining a little bit more opportunity than you're ready for.
Brittany, I have a question, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Could you
absolutely.
please clarify the workshop that if we sign up today, if I'm going to?
Yeah.
That will be held here or
Yes.
another location?
It's going to be held here,
On April
but
28th?
on April 28th. If this is so you guys want some background on the workshop? Okay. So here's the deal with the workshop. I told Bill that people in my region don't want to fly out to New York City. Okay, so we all love you. And he said, well, then you go do a workshop, then you go do the certification of it. So I love to do the certification. I said, but what can we do to help really extend the framework and really get people involved in the movement? Because I know a lot of people within KW who really have the book and love everything about the book, and they want to use these magic words more and more. But to be truthful, Bill, even when I do the certification in a room with 12 people, when it sells out at 12 people at $2,500 a pop, I mean, that's going to be a variety of business owners, real estate leaders, just so you know, the room that I'm in New York has the CEO of Pepsi in it. So you're telling me the room I'm going to be in is here in Sacramento is going to be some leadership from Sutter Health. The CEO of Sutter Health will be in that room, right? We have some attorneys who are gonna be in that room. And we have some real estate professionals and mortgage leaders in that room too. That's $2,500 that's what it was. But what can we do that's more of maybe a simple thing where people can get the role play cards and the workbook that is almost even virtual? He said, why don't you do a workshop? And why don't you charge $250? That essentially just covers a lot of the mailing and of the stuff because it's not cheap to mail a box of $100 out to California from New York City. And see how well your region responds to it. Michelle, I told her, I said, on the 3rd week of January, I made 4 phone calls to regional leaders, and every single one of them said, we want the workshop. Right? 8 market centers in the Bay Area are the workshop. There's a buyout option that you can talk to your leadership around it, but it's not going to be cheaper than $149 per person. Right? So if you decide tomorrow that you want to do it, there might be a buyout option, but today it's $149, it won't be cheaper per person. So don't be scared, right? And so if you could help me understand your question again so that I can make sure that I answer it before you leave.
I just wanted to be clear that we were having it here in the market.
It is here in the market
Because
center.
I see location to be determined. That was my question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know why I put location to be determined? Because before today, I was gonna do it virtual. And when I walked into this office, I told Michelle, I can do it here, and she said, yeah. So, yeah, so the registration link it's gonna not have a cut the ad location. But with her permission and availability of the 28th, we're gonna.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for the question. Before I leave, is there 1 or 2 maybe things that stood out that you think you can immediately implement into your life about your business?
I'm gonna say just asking more questions. I got that from you. People were asking me, asking more questions. So I think asking more questions,
Sure.
obviously, and asking the right questions.
Yeah, the right question. You know, it's interesting about that. Thank you for saying that. In the workshop, we're going to go do a deep dive into how to ask better questions and the understanding that those who ask the best questions not only gets paid the fastest, they also get paid the most. So if you struggle with how to ask questions in the moments, we're going to actually teach you a very simple structure on how to ask better questions in the moments that matter most. Very simple structure. To almost to the degree that I can almost guarantee that the first week after you learn how to ask those questions, your results and your outcomes will be high. One more aha before we got to tacos.
I really liked, it stood out to me when you mentioned the context over content.
Yeah.
And not allowing ourselves to believe that communicating words is the same as properly communicating.
Right. Yeah. That's an interesting concept, isn't it? You know, is it true that a lot of us call ourselves real estate advisors? Sometimes we get into that habit where we're calling ourselves real estate advisors. You know, in the workshop, we talk a little bit about certainty, and how when we learn something and when we train for something, that we're so certain that it's going to work for everyone. And we come in such high level of certainty that this is what you need to do in your situation. And even if it doesn't seem like it's that to our audience, it is. We're certainly inside they feel that. It automatically creates uncertainty in the person. If we come in with such high level of certainty, it accidentally creates uncertainty. And thank you for recognizing that, and we go over that for sure. One thing I forgot to mention is that in addition to the workbook, you also get 2 extra things. One of them is something that we put together a while back, but it's called the exactly what to say field guide. Where it's almost like a cheat sheet, where you go through here and you say, okay, this is my scenario, and this is what I should say, right? This is a kind of a starting point for a thing, where it really helps you start thinking differently around conversations, right? Because we know that this is not script practice. The problem with scripts is that the other person doesn't know their script. And so some of you are still practicing scripts, and in the script, the prospect has a line. And in real life, the prospect forgot that line. And they didn't say that one. So now you feel stuck and awkward. And you just lost momentum if you want that. Right? So this is not a script. So anything from this side of the room, which has been really excellent as well. All right, Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Or cleaning and ripping.
Let's go.